With the reveal of the Emperor, we saw the introduction of Flesh and Blood's very first dual-class hero, and many of us degenerates started salivating. Now, the Emperor's own lore indicates he's the only known hero capable of wielding two classes, which I interpret as meaning one thing: he's the only one for now. As we see all the time in these type of games, creep is an inevitable thing, and for that reason, never say never. Just because they say today he's the only one and there isn't another. Well, let's just circle back in 2032, and we'll see. Regardless, many Flesh and Blood players are excited to see about the prospects of dual class. Me, I'm scared doodless about it. But today, instead of me lecturing on why dual class might be a Pandora's box, I'm going to show you using some hyperbolic but realistic examples. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks, and welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again for a bit of a silly cast. See, to date, Flesh and Blood has been able to maintain relative overall balance in a non-rotating and ever-expanding card pool. And they've been able to do this fairly well via the utilization of essentially horizontal design. In short, this horizontal design approach provides a high degree of compartmentalization of the card pool. Despite a large number of cards being added with each expansion, the functional number of cards available to any given hero doesn't change all that much. Most heroes continue to play within their own silo, so to speak. Starvo is actually a relevant and very real example of what access to disproportionate silos can do from a power standpoint. And it follows then that multi-class heroes provide the same risks as those silos are then allowed to intermix. And now sure, today's video may indeed be a bit hyperbolic, but that doesn't mean the examples we're using have to be. See, we as card gamers, we can always come up with insane combos that are just as nearly impossible to pull off as they are nearly busted. But those type of combos aren't always typically problematic. Instead, what is problematic generally are the repeatable above curve type interactions like basically everything Runeblade, or basically everything Starvo. So the examples I chose for today are all very repeatable. Several of them are actually not even combos per se, but just instead merely a highlight of a concept. Furthermore, I think it's also necessary to completely ignore talents and instead focus purely on generic class cards. Not to say that our dual class heroes won't have talents, we in fact have already seen it. But to try and hone in on all those possible alignments is even a little too far out for today's video. So let's shut up and get to our first example today. For today's first example, we're going to look at a relatively repeatable and straightforward one combining the Warrior and Guardian classes. Basically doing everything the Warrior wants to do on the front pump and adding it in to Anathos. In the case shown here, with just 2 3-cost blues and a 3-card hand, you have 9 threatening 10, and this leaves 2 float for Pummel. Pretty scary stuff indeed, especially when you consider the next portion, which is Reactions Anathos. Oh, that's available too. Many of the Warrior attack reactions specifically just say weapon, which means that it could in fact apply to other weapons, not just the Warrior ones. Anathos threatening a red Pummel for 10 has been the bane of many a game, but now imagine Anathos with a potential route on board, coming in for 9 and popping whatever you're defending with back. That looks like a game winner right there. Combining the Warrior and Guardian classes using just even cards from WTR and Crew is a pretty repeatable and pretty scary little prospect. For a long time, one of the challenges to Brute has been finding blues that have 6 attack. Now imagine combining the Guardian class providing access to all sorts of blues with 6 or more. Tired of missing your discards? Bring on the Brute Guardians. And going into the field of obviously broken, highly unlikely, given the fact especially that Runeblades are basically wizard warriors, or are they? We can now combine all of the Warrior weapon pumps that are non-attacks with our Runeblade weapons. Does swinging twice with Rosetta sound good? Toss in a go again attack and go to town, baby. Now, the examples we looked at today are just a small number of the type of things that pop up once we start looking at dual class and crossovers. And sure, it was probably a bit ridiculous, but hopefully the point is at least proven. As the card pool continues to expand to infinity and beyond, compartmentalization will remain extremely important. So let me know in the comments below what other crazy kind of things can you come up with using dual class heroes. Sure, it's a fun exercise, but do you agree? Is the concept of dual class potentially game-breaking? Or can LSS do it and keep it in check? Let me know what you think, and go Commando.